All right, good morning and welcome to Coastal Chaos 2018, a WFTDA-Recognized Tournament brought to you by the Rock Coast Rollers of Rockport, Maine, and the New England Roller Derby Report. I'm Chad.
George Carnage. George Carnage here.
George is here. George, we're going to watch Granite State take on Mass Attack in about 2 seconds here.
That's right. Granite State, you might remember, they played State College last night, and actually State College took the victory in that game. Now, our first jam is just starting on that whistle, and I see Mass Attack's jammer there fighting super hard to get through, but she just got knocked out of bounds. That jammer is number 80, Carnage Patch Kid.
It's Granite State, almost taking the lead jammer designation, but no, picked up a track cut.
Yeah, she's off. Missy Riot's off to the box on that cutting penalty. Now this is a power jam going to Carnage Patch Kid, and she's lead in this jam.
It's a great way for Mass Attack, who took yesterday was a pretty hard loss for them. But here they come back today, and they're the first points on the board.
There it is, 5 points scored by Carnage Patch Kid.
See that? I can hear the house announcers talking about the difficulty with Cabbage Smash Kid. Ha! And Carnage
Patch Kid. There's probably a Cabbage Smash Kid somewhere.
There is. It's down in Portland where she
Portland's okay.
Yeah.
Carnage Patch Kid takes the out there on the straightaway, and there's another 5 points already bringing her lead up while Missy Riot is back into the track.
Yeah, 15 points. That's an incredible start.
Barely avoiding a cut. Missy Riot got knocked out of bounds. The blocker went out of bounds just by a hair. Technically, that means she can stay on the track. Carnage Patch Kid calling that jam off before Missy can put any points up. So 19-0 at the end of our first jam.
Exciting open for Mass Attack. So while we're getting set up for our next jam, I'll go down through some of Mass Attack's skaters. We've got 0 Troubles Braids, 10 Goldie Gloves, 13 Pixie Sticks, 141 Bloodbath Betty. Winsley Adams is wearing 16, D-Block 18, Pepper Machete 223, 341, Enraging Grace 39, Valkyrie 4, Android, and 414 Torpedo. It's Android though right now with the star for Mass Attack. And we've got 20 Critical Hit for Granite State. It is Critical Hit who is our lead jammer. So we'll see. What does Granite State have as a reply for that opening salvo from Mass Attack?
Now, we saw some pretty good jamming last night by Granite State, but they were kind of a second half comeback. It's when they really started to pick up their defensive blocking and bringing in one of their jammers, number 100, trying to lessen the damage that State College did to that team. 4 points on the board there by Mass Attack.
Yeah, so we're up 8-4 right now, Granite State. And number 6, just so we have the correction, number 6, when we see her, is M Bomber.
Yeah, I think I called her EM Bomber last night.
She is an M Bomber.
M Bomber. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We used to have, playing for Rock Coast Rollers, used to be Rapunzel. Her number was 6 feet under, and she worked also in the same field.
For the red team, the ladies wearing the red, that's Mass Attack Roller Derby, number 0, Troubles Braids, number 10, Goldie Gloves, number 13, Pixie Sticks, number 141, Bloodbath Betty, number 16, Winsley Adams.
Naughty Van Close, lead jammer for Granite State.
Number 18, D-Block.
421, Impaler Swift. We haven't read her name off yet on the roster. She happens to be our jammer right now for Mass Attack.
Oh, and there's a cut track is going to Naughty Van Close for Granite State. Giving Mass Attack another power jam with Impaler Swift up at the front of the pack. A 4-wall by Granite State. has her pretty much stopped on the track.
Yeah, I'm wondering if at what point here will her defense help her out.
There's a stop block given to one blocker by Verbalist. Oh, one stop block and a insubordination penalty now going to a Granite State blocker.
So a nice little sweep in by 419 Killbot to try to make some room. He came here through 3 and 4.
Granite State still down one blocker who's actually serving 2 penalties, a full minute in the penalty box. Not even close. Back on the track from her earlier cut. She's at the very front of the pack. Mass Attack's throwing up a 4-wall, trying to hold her back, but she's up front, and she puts 4 points on the board for Granite State.
Yeah, 20 seconds left in this jam. We don't have a lead jammer, so we'll go for another 16 seconds.
Not even close. Knocked out of bounds by number 419, Killbot, right there on the jammer line.
So Mass Attack slowing down just a little bit here at the end of this jam, both defensively and offensively. That 2 minutes felt pretty long towards the end, I'm sure.
With that jam over, we're sitting at 22-36 in favor of Mass Attack.
Yeah, Mass Attack wins that jam. 13-9, that's pretty good.
Number 19, Missy Riot is jamming for Granite State. I don't see a Mass Attack jammer on the track. I'm wondering if she got a penalty there in the very last seconds of that jam.
Yeah, I do see, looks like in the box down towards the end, yeah.
I see someone with a star sitting down.
With a look of chagrin. So
starting on a power jam is Granite State with Missy Riot, number 19. She's working her way through the pack, but she's still in back. She picks up the inside on the apex right there at turn 2, comes out with lead jammer.
Only 9 points to make up here.
9 points, and that's after 2 power jams. So I think Granite State's going to be very good to recover from that. For number 341, Enraging Grace knocks Missy Riot
did we get
out
a
of
track
bounds.
cut? Yeah, we did. I watched it happen, and I wondered if that would be the call.
Yeah.
She stepped back in a little too quick on turn 4.
Low blocking now, a low block penalty. There's a toe stop on the track. Well, not on the track, but someone's now missing a toe stop.
So, yeah, who will have a hard time stopping? Looks like it's going to be number 21 from Mass Attack.
Yep. she just learned. 5 points for Mass Attack.
That must have been 421 and Taylor Swift, because I don't see a 21 on here.
Missy Riot is still trying to fight her way through the pack. I believe she got swallowed up there. I'm not sure she completed a scoring pass yet. Mass Attack very quick with reacting with their defensive walls, because there's a 3-wall reformed almost immediately, and they're just recycling, and they're keeping her back. It was 5 points scored by Missy Riot.
In the backstretch, we've got Valkyrie trying to make her way through. Nice formations by Granite State. She's really not getting anywhere. Although for this particular jam, it looks like Mass Attack will come away with the upper hand. We'll see where the points shake out.
31-43 is still in favor of Mass Attack, so it's still 12 points, and we're about 21 minutes left. Critical hit number 20 will be jamming for Granite State. Carnage Patch Kid number 8 once again for Mass Attack, and there's a official timeout now being called.
So I was doing some math before we started the stream to try to. I had a hunch earlier that we must be getting close to the New England Roller Derby Report's 200th game broadcast. Between when we first started with Mixler doing audio broadcasts to now, and after all of the tournaments, you do a tournament with 20 games, it doesn't take long to pile those up. Turns out tomorrow rather, on Game 11 will be the 200th stream that we have done.
That will be a celebratory game for us at that point.
Yeah, I will probably put some kind of...
we'll be very festive.
I'll put a 200th broadcast icon in the upper left-hand corner or something mundane like that. I could be a little wrong on the math, but it's close enough for what I care about.
Our next jam will be sponsored by our VIP scoreboard sponsor. That is all kind chocolate bars and caramels. Now, their flagship store is right here in Portland, Maine, and their products are batch-tempered, hand-poured, hand-wrapped. They medicate, elevate, and motivate, and they're safe, easy, and discreet. Our officials are out there officially looking official.
Let's take a quick look here at our Consolation bracket, which is where we are right now. Granite State versus Mass Attack. They will go on to play against Bay State for the Consolation champion, or third place as it kind of works out to be.
Our jam whistle blows. A little bit of fighting there by both of our jammers, but Carnage Patch Kid comes out with your lead jammer for Mass Attack. Critical hit completes her initial pass, now able to score points. Carnage Patch Kid, a little bit of a tumble there up at turn 2 as she comes out of the pack, and she's back up on her skates and pushed 4 points up.
Another 4 points.
4 points.
Oh,
pack advantage.
She tried her best to come out of nowhere.
Pack advantage going to Granite State right now as Killbot is off to the penalty box.
Death by Sugar just turned on some jets to try to make contact.
M-Bomber just took down Carnage Patch Kid there between the jammer and pivot lines. Carnage Patch Kid tries to scoot through at turn 1, and she's taken down by Taz Lamian Devil.
Bit of twister being played on turn 1.
Yeah. Taz Lamian Devil will actually serve a low blocking penalty for her hit there on Carnage Patch Kid, which took her down right there at turn 1.
So here's Granite State with only 3 points to catch up on to retake that lead.
Mass Attack doing a rollback on number 20, Critical Hit, who's trying to fight for some points. Critical Hit is in the pack about halfway through. There she is. She comes out, puts 5 points up. Our jam is over. 53-51 at this point. I'm sorry, 53-54 with Mass Attack in the lead by 1 point. And we're about 19 minutes left to our first half.
It's kind of cool to see. We're already up over 50. We've only seen just around 12 minutes of game so far.
Right, and yesterday we also had a 1 point victory for one of our teams, and that was a very hard-fought game. Number 4, Android, wearing the Jammer Star for Mass Attack, and not even close, is jamming for Granite State. Strong defense there and back by Granite State is keeping Android from getting through. Almost a stagnant pack at this point. Those jammers those blockers are on point with their pack awareness. They're holding back Android very effectively, while not even close pops the apex, and I believe she was just given. Yeah, might have just been given a.
She did. She picked up an insubordination for arguing the call.
I didn't see what her first call was. I don't know if she hit somebody. She jumped the apex. She might have hit somebody while she was in the air.
I think it was actually she was being called on a track cut for something. prior to that.
Okay.
I grabbed a instant replay. We'll see if we actually can see that
The
or not.
hand signal, right.
Yeah. Well,
So we actually got 2 insubordination penalties in one game. It's pretty unusual. That means when that call is made, you can't contest it unless you call your official review. Android finally gets past Granite State's defensive wall. She almost gets through up front. Number 17, Angelina Joe Lethal, puts a hit on Android, but ends up earning herself a forearm penalty. She's in the penalty box while Naughty Van Close is released from the box for her previous incident.
so Mass Attack has not really taken too much of an advantage there. Only came out on a 5-4. We'll see if there was anything on the instant. No, we did not see anything on the instant replay. It was we only see the very end of.
Okay.
We only see the very end of that. I didn't grab that quite in time.
We
was already through the pack at that point.
We have an official review now being called for Granite State. It might be in reference to that Jimmer penalty.
Yeah, very well could be.
And we're at 57-62, 5-point difference in favor of Mass Attack.
Well, with the video being archived, we can go back and watch it later if we remember to. I won't remember to. And
funny thing, I was talking to an old coach from years ago, the league I started with, just an hour or so ago, and we were talking about. She retired for some period of time, and she just came back, and we're talking about what Derby has evolved into. And back then, we didn't have instant replays. That was one of the biggest things we talked about as officials and players is there's no instant replay like other sports have, and here we have it right here in front of us.
Yeah, sometimes we do.
Yeah.
It's, the software that we use to stream this is called Open Broadcast Software, and it's one of those things I encourage leagues, if they have somebody who wants to take a look at Open Broadcast Software. It doesn't cost anything.
Really?
And it can turn a desktop or a laptop into some kind of stream for your league. And most teams are using the Carolina Roller Girls, the CRG scoreboard. Well, the CRG scoreboard that's what drives the overlay that you see on nearly every stream that's out there. That's a group of volunteers that puts together the CRG software. And those guys and girls put in so many hours of unpaid programming time to make this thing work. And your scoreboard overlay is right there, and it's really quite simple. There's actually a couple of videos that we posted on the Nerd Derby YouTube page on how to set up OBS as well as get your overlay running as well. I think I did one for overlay too.
That Carolina's scoreboard is the standard. I mean, a lot of games I've reffed and watched, that's always been what they've been using. And I'm going to take a look into this Open Broadcast software because I'm sure.
Yeah, it's pretty intuitive. And anyone who wants to get their team starting to stream their own games, I will always be willing to answer questions.
I announced the game a few weeks ago with the Black Rose Rollers, and there was a brief discussion about live streaming it, but nobody knew how.
Yeah.
Even some of the people who were more tech savvy just didn't know. So we're going to bring this to our neck of the woods and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, there's a good chance that at least half of the equipment that we're using today, so you guys already have, and you probably don't even really realize it.
Is that just a USB camera plugged into your?
That is. This is actually just USB cameras. They're actually a webcam. Microsoft LifeCam Studio is what they're called. Quick little hop on the Apex as Granite State is our lead jammer.
That's number 19.
That's Missy Riot.
I think I saw 5 points by the jam ref there. Missy Riot, almost crashes into somebody's knees, but she's back up. Mass Attack putting a 2-wall up front, holding her back.
We're tied right now until we have some more points put on the board. We'll have 5 more put up, so that's going to be Granite State's lead.
Yeah, Granite State coming out with another 5 points on the board. 4 points there scored by, that's number 4, Android, jamming for Mass Attack once again. We're still neck to neck here, 67-66. I'm sorry, 68-66 now. And we're halfway through our first period. Number 421, Impaler Swift.
And critical hit.
And jam against critical hit.
There's some room on the outside, easily gobbled up and taken.
It looked like there might have been something going on there on the outside line, but our 3 outside pack referees all nodded that there was not actually a penalty.
Yeah.
Looked like there might have been a skate, but obviously it wasn't.
Yeah,
right.
Impaler's skate, her right skate ran along the tape but didn't cross over.
Very difficult thing to see, but if you're, as you know, if you're on the line, you are still in bounds. And 3 referees did confirm that everything was okay there. So thankfully, no penalty will be assessed. Still 2-point difference there.
Mass Attack retakes the lead, 70-68. Yeah.
Aha!
It's great.
I didn't pick that up.
It's great.
Naughty Van Close is her name, and then her number is to me.
It's well, that was kind of a hand grenade reference there. We just pulled the pin, and we finally got it a little bit later on. It took us a bit, but we got there.
Naughty Van Close is out of the pack, but even though she's the first jammer to come out, okay. Both of our jammers did complete their initial passes. Impaler Swift gets in the pack.
Yeah, I think Not Even Close may pick up a point on that.
Yeah, Impaler looks like she's coming out with 4 points.
It looks like our period clock may have. I've noticed a couple of times where it's the time has either sped up or slowed down just a little bit. I would not be surprised if we see a scoreboard change out after this game. Or at least a restart, perhaps. That happens sometimes.
70-74 in favor of Mass Attack now. Taslamian Devil is jamming for Granite State, and she is lead jammer. Number 4, Android jamming for Mass Attack. We have a 1-0 jam, 1 point scored by Taslamian Devil.
So now that I think I forgot that I had actually done some how-to videos on streaming derby. So now I'll have to try to figure out what my next one will be.
The universal problem in derby seems to be every single skating rink is just a black hole for cell service.
Yeah, it really is. Data is very hard to come by. Not always the case, but for the most part, there are a few places I've been where. They just were fortunate enough to have a business class kind of data. But for the most part, that's not the case.
Obviously, this can also work on Wi-Fi versus cellular.
Yeah, we're, if you can get a hardwired connection for cable or DSL, and it's much more convenient. Though we've done, knock on wood, we've done pretty good this weekend.
I see. I think I saw a low block hand signal there to somebody.
We've had a star pass as well. Mass Attack.
A star pass. It was given to number 39, Valkyrie. She's up at the front of the pack.
Boy, penalty Bex and M Bomber, and it looks like we also have. That was missed who the third blocker was, but they did not give an inch coming out of 4. Timeout. Maybe what I will do, I'm trying to think, because I've got everything set up. Maybe I will do a walkthrough of all of the equipment set up. Because I have camera, and then I'll upload the walkthrough video to YouTube later on. How everything's set up. That would be helpful. All right, for those of you watching at home, you just saw a scoreboard reset. That's what happens when you see the scoreboard jump all over and you get a white screen. That is the scoreboard reset, and the server restarts on the, because the way the CRG scoreboard works is it provides a web server, and then on that web page, you basically have a green screen with a scoreboard on the front. So just like you see in the movies, you tell the software in OBS to ignore the color green, and then it leaves just your logo down at the bottom and all your overlay.
Our next game about to start here after a brief timeout, 78-74. Not even close, and Carnage Patch Kid lining up on the jam line.
Not even close, making some room on the inside. She got awful close to having one skate out, but she didn't. Her toe stop was right on the line.
Carnage Patch Kid coming out with lead jammer. Just inches behind her, though. Naughty Van close.
Yeah.
Tries to pick up the lead, or tries to pick up a couple points, 0-0, and Carnage calls that jam.
Granite State's in the lead, 78-74 over Mass Attack. Granite State, of course, in the turquoise, Mass Attack in red. Referees in black and white. Officials in the nice, sharp black shirts. The days of the flamingo pink shirts are gone.
Just did away with that not that long ago. Taz Slamian Devil is jamming. She's number 100 with Granite State. And she is going up against number 4, Android. Android also out of the pack on a scoring pass now. And Taz calls that jam off. She gets hit on the bounds there on the inside, but she's got 2 more points scored for Granite State. I believe we're at a 6-point lead, and that's since our 2 power jams at the beginning of this game. That's about as far as these 2 teams have been apart.
Yeah. .421 and Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift and
critical hit.
Critical hit. Critical hit. Gets through the back of the pack right away, but Mass Attack is a very strong wall that stopped her for a brief moment. I believe Taylor Swift just left the track for a penalty. Yes,
I think you are correct.
This would now be a power jam for Granite State. This will probably help secure or help establish a dominancy in this game. It's been neck to neck as far as points, only a couple points off so far.
We are a blocker down. So CJ and Pixie Sticks and Enraging Grace will have to step up. Returning now, we got Troubles Braids back out there, so defensively they're at full strength.
1 5-point scoring pass completed by Critical Hit, while Impaler Swift comes out of the box.
Yeah, with a stashed star.
And her initial pass now complete. Critical Hit calling that jam off with another 4 points. Is that 5?
I think that's going to be 4 points.
4 points. So 9-point scoring, 9-point jam there by Critical Hit. We're now at a 20-point difference, 94-74.
So 20 points. I think that's our biggest lead.
It is. It is. Now we got Naughty Van Close once again, and number 419 Killbot jamming for Mass Attack. And now Killbot gets around Mass Attack's defensive wall on the in.
I was super confused about Killbot's name because I kept questioning myself, and I intentionally didn't say her name because I've always known her as Kiltrosity because that's what's on the jersey.
Oh, okay.
So it was now I feel like I've caught up here a little bit.
A couple blocker penalties there, but both of our jammers still on the track. Lead going to Killbot for mass attack.
Yeah, Killbot's got some points. And does not appear to be calling it off yet either.
Not even close. I mean, she's basically giving Naughty the chance to score points in this jam.
Yeah, and she may pick up that kind of a hit. I think she took her own player out.
Yeah. Now our jammers are neck and neck coming out of turn 2. 4 and 4 for both of our jammers.
So Killbot's up 4 points right now, and still is not calling it off. So not even close. Still picking up a few points.
Killbot, even though she's not lead, she's still putting 4 points up. Not even close. Also coming out with 4 points.
I think. Yeah. So Killbot is the lead jammer.
Yes.
So why she didn't call it off? I'm not sure. But
basically allowed Granite State to put 8 more points on the board. Now I believe, well, they're coming out of that jam with 4 points up after you figure the scoring passes were 4 and 4. So there's really no gain until the very end of that jam.
So risky, but they're within 12 points now. So they did make headway, and we're only in period 1.
Right.
So there's
5 minutes left to our first period. Granite State crossing the 100-point mark, 102 to 91. So 11-point lead now.
And now we have a timeout called by Granite State. No? Yeah, Granite State.
Our jam timer, Slammerus, on the pivot line indicating that team timeout is called by Granite State. Our officials are grouped, our referees, that is, are grouped in the center of the track there.
I should go over to flat track stats here. I actually did not look to see who would have been the favor to win today.
I have to go outside to look anything up.
Well, I'm using the super secret internet.
Yeah, it's not secret. I think the password's posted outside.
Oh, no, this one's a different one.
Okay, you have the privileged access.
I do, yeah.
Carnage Patch Kid, number 80, is going up against number 100, Taslamian Devil. Our jam starts. Carnage Patch Kid gets to the front. Granite State holding her back long enough for Taz to come out with lead jammer. Both of our jammers now complete their initial pass. Taz getting into the pack, taking on all 4 defensive blockers. She's passed at least 2 of them, passed the other 2. Calls that jam off. That's 4 on the board for Granite State. If you're not keeping on top of our schedule, I do believe we have a junior game. Is it in the next game or the game after that is our junior derby game.
Yeah, junior derby game. That's going to be this afternoon at 5:30.
5:30.
Our next game will be Rockin' City versus Rock Coast. That's not going to be it. I don't think they're at 3:30.
Our jam starts with number 4, Android, jamming for mass attack, and she's lead jammer. Critical hit coming out of the pack, not lead.
Our next game will actually be an exposition game. I think it's Casco Bay Gentlemen's Derby.
Oh, okay.
Or actually, it's just Casco Bay Roller Derby. I think they've changed the name.
Critical hit complete coming out of the pack. 4 and 4 by both of our jammers now.
Casco Bay will be playing against an all-star team of sorts.
All right.
So Casco Bay versus the world.
Android at the front of the pack. All 4 Granite State blockers working together and keeping a pretty strong wall. They knock Android out of bounds there on the infield. She re-enters at the back of the pack. Our jam is over with Granite State putting 4 more on the board.
I don't think I'll be on either call for that game, so I will be rooting for Tugboat of Casco Bay.
I think I'm working those next one.
This guy right here. I'm looking at him. Tugboat's right behind me. I'm actually talking about Tugboat right now on air. He's coming over to me.
He's coming over here. I wouldn't say anything bad.
No, I was just saying.
We can't run very far. We're kind of wired into this sound system.
I was just saying that when I get to watch you guys later on, I'll be rooting for Tugboat. Toot, toot. I got a toot, toot from Tugboat.
Jam starts 4-2-1, and Paler Swift knocked out of bounds by a a Granite State blocker. Mass Attack now doing a bit of a star stash, but she holds on to her star. Oh, forearm penalty now given to Paler Swift. This will be a power jam now going to Granite State. So 4 points, 5 points. Okay, there are an actual a 5-point scoring pass now for number 19, Missy Riot. Another insubordination penalty, so maybe Impaler Swift will sit for a full minute on this one. I didn't see an insubordination hand signal given by a ref. But Missy Riot coming out another 5, so she's on 10 points so far.
Granite State breaking away. This is a great way for Granite State to go into the half with potentially all the momentum. We'll probably see one more jam.
It looks like Mass Attack pretty on point with their defensive blocking up at the front of the pack. Missy Riot taken out of bounds at the apex by number 13 from Mass Attack. That's Pixie Sticks. With about a minute and a half left, 30-point lead now, 129 to 99.
Yeah, so Granite State does come in ranked 186 in WFTDA. Mass Attack comes ranked 239. So Mass Attack comes in and does well against Granite State. When they think about playing for the ranking points, this could be a very beneficial game for them.
Yeah, team timeout now being called by Mass Attack.
These two teams did play back in 2016, which means that easily half the team has changed since then.
And make sure you stay listening for our final game today. That's State College Area Roller Derby. We'll be taking on Lehigh Valley Roller Derby. Both teams from Central Pennsylvania were the winners of yesterday's bracket, and they will be going against each other. I believe that's the 7:30-ish game, 7:30 game.
Yep.
Not even close to me. He's wearing the Jammer Star.
Got a power start?
Yeah, power start. While
just barely.
Impaler Swift was standing when that jam started, so she's immediately right back in the pack. Now, lead is still open to both jammers, and that's going to not even close to me, who looks like she avoids a hit there by Mass Attack.
He has a nice little spin move, so we'll see. This could be our last jam. I suspect it will be.
Yeah. Impaler Swift.
Yeah, maybe we'll see another one.
Impaler Swift gets through with a star stash there on the previous scoring pass. 0-5, that 5 points given to not even close. So we are going to squeeze one more jam out of this with Carnage Patch Kid number 80 taking on number 20, Critical Hit. Our jam whistle starts. Both of our jammers trying to run up the middle. Carnage Patch Kid finds a hole there on the inside and comes out. She is lead. Critical Hit still in the pack, still at the back of the pack. She hasn't made a whole lot of progress yet. 3 Mass Attack blockers swarm to the front, try to hold her back. She's almost chased out of play. And Critical Hit coming out with not lead jammer. 4 points put on the board there by Carnage Patch Kid.
We got 1 point picked up here for Granite State. She's going to try to keep going.
Carnage coming out of the pack. That's a grand slam there. It's 5 points now.
Nice work by Carnage. And do we have a 4 points? I thought we might be having a penalty called here on
4
critical hit.
4 points there by critical hit with a mass attack blocker just taking a seat in the box, and Carnage coming out with another 4. Our official period clock has reached 0. We're about 48 seconds left to this game. Carnage in control if she wants to call it off, but we just saw a 5 and 4 scoring pass, 5 points going to Carnage. And Carnage once again runs up the inside, puts another 4 on the board.
She definitely has a lot of momentum in this one. As they're up 22-8, now probably up 22-12 shortly. I imagine there will be another 4 points awarded to Granite State. Now it'll be called off. So that's a very strong jam.
5 more points there by Carnage. 146, 126 going into our halftime.
Yeah, 27-12 in that jam. Mass Attack winning that jam. Mass Attack with 126. They're only going into halftime.
The 20-point difference.
Only 20-point difference.
Which it was about 40 points just a couple jams ago. So this game's still on table for both teams.
Well, I'm looking forward to the second half. Well, thank you very much for watching Coastal Chaos 2018, a WFTDA-Recognized Tournament, brought to you by the Rock Coast Rollers of Rockport, Maine, and New England Roller Derby Report. We'll be back with the second half in just over 14 minutes. Be sure to tune in for that. Thank you very much. All right, welcome back. Mass Attack versus Granite State. We were treated to a thrilling first half. We had a multiple lead change. Things are really close. And here we are, second half of the game. Mass Attack trailing by 20 points. Both teams really doing a great job. The only thing I think we've seen maybe get out of control just a little bit is we've seen some penalties that were really inopportune penalties. Each team is taking advantage of those when they happen.
So we're getting ready to start our second half. The Carnage Patch Kid going up against number 19, Missy Riot. Been doing an amazing job jamming so far in this game. They're becoming a pretty familiar jammer matchup. We have a rolling whistle to start our second half.
We're going to have Riot for Granite State and Carnage Patch Kid with the red hat. Riot starting out with the patented super low start. Scoots around 1, 2, 3, almost into the inside. Didn't quite make it.
Looks like a Mass Attack blocker is off the track right now. Pack advantage going to Granite State as Carnage Patch Kid comes out with lead jammer.
Yeah, Riot, though, is in front, so we'll see what happens. Ooh, pushed off to the infield.
Yes.
So we're going to continue to play here. There's 3 points that have been picked up by Riot.
Riot with a no pass, no penalty there on that previous scoring
Carnage
pass.
has 4 right now and could have called it off and been up by 1. So they're going to keep going. We saw this at the end of the first half. Mass Attack chose to keep running it, and it paid off for them.
Carnage Patch Kid coming out with 4 more points.
So Granite State with the advantage. I think we'll see a 1-point gain by Mass Attack. So 11-2 in that jam.
0-0 on our last scoring pass of that jam. 157-138. Critical hit, jamming once again up against number 4, Android.
We are a blocker down as Taz is in the box, but now comes out for Granite State.
Android squeaks through on the inside, and she's lead skating for Mass Attack.
So we mentioned Taz. We had some fan question, where was Taz yesterday? And finally Taz came out and jammed.
She was kind of a sleeper for the first half of that game last night.
I wonder if we'll see Taz again in this second half
today.
today.
If they're kind of saving her.
Yeah, if they felt like they needed to lean on Taz for a little extra or to throw something different on the track. Right now, though, it's Critical Hit who's really putting on quite a show right now. It's Android is getting slowed down quite a bit. I think Android did finally come up on points there with 4 more.
4-0 there, scored by Android.
Critical Hit looked very smooth going through. A little scary, I would imagine, if you're a Mass Attack player, to see how quickly sometimes and how easily they get through. And if you're playing a longer jam like that and you're playing that long game.
Okay, 161, 146. Impaler Swift jamming for her first time in the second half. Not even close to me. Also jamming, Mass Attack holding a strong wall to block. Not even close, but she gets past that wall.
She does. Stopped a little bit by her own team, so she got stuck there. That extra time allowed Mass Attack to recapture her. So she is not yet clear of the pack.
Lead jammer still open. That's going to Impaler Swift, who will be lead for Mass Attack once again.
Really great job by Mass Attack's defense. They definitely earned and won this particular jam.
0-0 jam in that.
No points, but I'll go back to my sentiment. I think Mass Attack, I think they won that jam based on the early defensive performance.
Missy Riot and Carnage Patch Kid again. Our jam whistle blows. Carnage Patch Kid tries to get through on the inside. Doesn't quite work as well as she thought it would, but she still comes out up the middle and she's lead. It looks like, okay, I thought for a minute that Missy Wright was on her way to the penalty box, but she's still actually in the pack. She hasn't yet completed her initial pass, however. Up front, number 39 and number 7 from Mass Attack. That's Valkyrie and number 7, Death by Sugar, putting the final few hits on Missy Riot. Now, both of our jammers have completed their initial passes now. Carnage does call that jam off 4-4 at the end of that jam.
So 9 points now. Do you remember not long ago we had a 40-point margin of difference here?
And in a couple of those jams, it was just a difference of 1 or 2 points. There's Taz jamming for Granite State, number 100, taking on number 4, Android, and Taz comes out with lead. And Taz on her scoring pass comes into the pack, knocked out of bounds there at turn 2, while Android is on a scoring pass.
These two teams, when they come in here today, we talked a little about this earlier. Granite State ranked significantly higher than Mass Attack. So this is really, again, we've talked about this a couple of times this weekend too. Not only is this a chance to advance for either team in this tournament, but also in the standings. And Mass Attack has at the rate they're going, a good chance to move up in the rankings as a result of this game, in combination with what they do, of course, the rest of the weekend. So we'll get to look forward to that as well.
Looks like it's Killbot wearing the Jammer Star for Mass Attack. And she's lead, and she was lead almost effortlessly in her initial pass. And she's taking on number 20, Critical Hit. And they're almost neck to neck at this point. Critical Hit's just about 12 feet ahead of her, and she gets into the pack.
Critical Hit is trying to call off the jam.
Trying to call it off, but she's not actually lead. So
yeah, and I wonder if they're going to give her a penalty for trying to call off the jam.
Well, in the old days,
you could do that.
In the old days, that was a minor penalty, but
now it's just a.
Now it's like
really.
Now it's like unless it actually is called off, and then you will get the penalty.
Right. The refs were on top of that one.
Yeah. I have made that mistake as a referee. It's quite embarrassing because then you have to issue the penalty to that skater for your own mistake, and yeah, you learn the first time. Missy Rye and Carnage Patch Kid, once again, we're going to have a pivot line start in this jam. Speaking of old days and minor penalties.
So Carnage, there was room on the outside. Did she get through cleanly, though? She did. She's our lead jammer.
She's been doing an amazing job so far, at least in the past dozen or so jams.
Carnage, really one of the original members of Mass Attack Roller Derby. Seasoned veteran, for sure.
There she is with 4 points. Held up by her jam ref, Julius Caesar. And Carnage on another scoring pass, taken down. A forearm penalty assessed to number 15 on Granite State, Angie O'Nasty. What happened was Carnage was into the pack right there, right about turn 4, and number 15, Angie, accidentally pushed her down, and because it was a contact with, her hands or forearms, that penalty was issued. Missy Riot coming out of that pack with 4 points, and 4 also by Carnage. 10-point difference now at this point, 181, 171.
Interesting strategy by Mass Attack today to keep jams going and to try to chance it with a little bit of the longer game. Not something you see very often. It's nice to see it.
There's Taz jamming once again for Granite State, and Android once again for Mass Attack. Taz trying to take the outside right off the jam start whistle, but she's held up.
Yeah, that's number 7 for Mass Attack. That's Death by Sugar. She was right there.
3 blockers putting a hit on Android, but she gets through, and she's lead. We're now jammer on jammer.
Taz almost looked like she was eyeballing her there, like she wanted to line her up, but
Taz is ahead now of Android by about 10 feet and gets into the pack. She's passed at least 1 or 2 skaters, taken out of bounds, or taken down out of bounds by number 39, Valkyrie. And she has to re-enter at the back of that little cluster there.
Penalty called on 15.
Yep.
That's Angio Nasty. So she's picked up a penalty.
Yep.
So 1 less blocker.
1 less blocker, and she must have just come back in from that forearm penalty she got in the previous jam. 4 and 4 now at both of our jammers. A block by number 1837, the Tartlet Dodger. Almost a model example of a booty block there on turn 1. Takes Android down just a couple seconds ago. 4 points scored by Android in that jam, in that scoring pass.
So we'll see. It looks like that's an 8-8 draw for that jam. I guess is where we'll stay.
We're still at a 10-point difference in favor of Granite State.
Just under 20 minutes left in the second half. Penalty, the timeout right now being called by Mass Attack, so maybe they're changing strategy for the final 20 minutes. What do you think?
Always a possibility. That's a lot of times they'll do that to kind of regroup and talk about what's going on, because it's a very dynamic game. Plays are sometimes formulated on the fly, and lineups and everything change. They might change their time of rotation. We saw a lot of that last night. The final game of the evening, when the blocking changed by, I believe it was Granite State. They played State College last night, didn't they?
Yes.
I believe that was a team where you could see about a third to half the way through the game. They did take a timeout or two, I believe, and the blocking was much stronger. And so they took some time there to regroup and kind of make their changes on the fly.
Carnage, Patch Kid with the star for Mass Attack.
Critical hit there, number 20 for Granite State.
She'll try to get by Fearless on the right. There's no room there. Penalty Bex gets her off to the infield. Nice work by Penalty Bex. Penalty Bex does pick up a penalty and head to the Bex herself.
Number 20, critical hit, is our lead jammer. A failed hit there by number 13, Pixie Sticks. Leaves Pixie down temporarily. 5 points, though, being scored by critical hit.
Yeah, 5 points, and I don't think Granite State will really play the long game like Mass Attack does, so they will call it off after another 4.
Is called off. 24 point, yes. 198, 179 now in favor of Granite State.
Mass Attack needs to show some unanswered points for a little bit here.
Impaler Swift, number 421, and Missy Riot, number 19, jamming. Missy Riot held up in back just for a couple seconds or so. Impaler Swift is knocked out of bounds on the infield, and she re-enters at the back of the pack, having to repass all of those Granite State blockers.
Riot looked exceptional going through the pack, and again, has Mass Attack split up just a little bit. Pops to the inside line. Picks up 5 points. So 2 back-to-back jams for Granite State where they've been very productive very quickly. We saw 9 in the last jam. I think we'll see something similar here. 6, not quite as many points on that second run through.
1 point put on the board there by Granite State. Nothing scored by Mass Attack. Mass Attack putting number 4, Android, out to jam up against Taz, number 100.
You have to wonder, do the long jams impact your energy level on your defense?
Oh, you're obviously you're blocking a little bit longer. Having to be more aware of your pack and what's going on in the pack. As a defensive blocker, pack awareness, one of the most critical things that you'll have to do. Both of our jammers now out of the pack. Taz is 1 lap ahead now of Android, who just completed her initial pass.
There's Taz coming in quick.
Avoided a block by a Mass Attack blocker.
Yeah, great work by Taz. That is the Taz effect we're seeing here in the second half. And Granite State, they came in the second half. They really kept the cool, didn't they? I mean, that's
they did.
Very, very impressive.
I heard for a whistle, so we have some sort of timeout going on now.
I think we're repairing.
We have an official timeout.
We're repairing some track down there on the pit line.
Our scoreboard sponsor, VIP, is called All Kind. All Kind chocolate bars and caramels. Their flagship store is right here in Portland, Maine. Their products are batch tempered, hand poured, and hand wrapped. They medicate, elevate, and motivate, and they are safe, easy, and discreet. Find them online at Instagram.com/all_kind_dot_buzz.
A lot of underscores there.
Yes. Allkind.buzz, and those words are separated by underscore marks. This next jam brought to us by Tires and Service, our other scoreboard sponsors. At VIP Tires and Service, you'll get the lowest price on tires every day, backed up by a 200% money-back guarantee. When you need tires, turn to VIP. The VIP promise is better than just the lowest price. It's being treated with respect and getting the job done right the first time. When you need service or tires, turn to VIP. Our referees convened in the infield right now.
There must be some major repair down there. Starting to see some crowds fill in here to the Midcoast Recreation Center bleachers.
Yes. I recognize a lot of faces here from skaters in yesterday's games as well. Okay, our next jam underway after that pretty lengthy official timeout. Carnage Patch Kid is jamming for Mass Attack, but she is effectively being blocked by Granite State's four-wall there in back. Carnage is taken down. Gets back up. Now, lead jammer's position still open, and after all Carnage went through to get through that pack and being taken down, she comes out with lead jammer.
This is the first lead jam in a while for Mass Attack.
Yes.
And it looks like they're gonna still play the longer game.
Carnage Patch Kid has been doing a lot of the jamming work so far in this game, and she's just put 4 points on the board for her team. And Critical Hit just puts 4 more points on for Granite State. Critical hit into the pack. Her wheel goes out of bounds there on the straightaway. She has to re-enter behind number 7, Death by Sugar, who initiated that hit. I hear penalties being issued here. We've got at least one Coastal or one Granite State skater in the penalty box now, while Critical Hit comes out with 4 more points. Carnage fighting her way. She's at the front of the pack. M Bomber going out of play there. She has to let Chaos go, or not Chaos. She has to let Carnage go. I keep thinking Coastal Chaos. I keep wanting to call Granite State Coastal State. It's been a long night.
They do have a little bit of coast. It's very small. Killbot and Riot on the line. Riot plays a little blocking of her own there for a bit.
I do see the different name on her jersey. It threw me off there for a minute. Now she's skating for Mass Attack, and Killbot is our lead jammer. Missy Riot is jamming for Granite State, and she is taken out of bounds. I see a forearm penalty being assessed to somebody. It is, thankfully, it's not Missy Riot. That will be a Mass Attack blocker going to the box for that forearm penalty, meaning Missy Riot now completes her initial pass, and she is in the engagement zone, and now she is in the pack.
Scoring, and so isn't Killbot.
Look at that. Those two jammers just squeezed through an exact same hole there on the outside at turn 4. And that jam is over with 4 and 4 by our jammers. 225 to 204 in favor of Granite State.
It's a nice 13 to 4 run there for Mass Attack, putting themselves back in. Android comes up to the line. She wants to continue that. They'll have to do so after we have this whistle. We have not seen for a little while, for Granite State, we've not seen not even close this half, have we?
You're right.
Have we seen Taz take her place in the rotation?
Yes. So maybe they're throwing Taz in there just to help secure their dominance in this game so far. As you remember, that was a very close first half for the better part of it.
Not even. I'm only guessing. She may have also had a few penalties in that first half. I don't know that I saw her. I'm now mixing games together. I'm at that point already.
You might be right. I don't recall offhand any penalties she got, at least as a jammer. But she did take number 4, Android, out of bounds there at turn 1 on the inside and did the rollback to bring her back. Yeah. But Android she still gets through, and Android's lead jammer for this jam.
We had a power start. I didn't see the penalty that was called.
Yes, that's right. Missy Riot. She's standing, so she's on her last 10 seconds there in the penalty box. And she gets back on the track. So she's got to complete her initial pass here. And Mass Attack puts up a 4-wall. I see a direction of gameplay signal there by, that's number 36.
That's Fearless.
Fearless. On that clockwise blocking penalty. Missy Riot still on her initial pass. That should be 5 points. That is at 5 points.
Riot picks up a penalty, and we head into the box with 56 left in this jam.
Riot is in the box, and as well as another Granite State blocker who I think I saw got a out of play blocking, some sort of out of play penalty on that by the hand signal. And that's another 5 points there by Mass Attack, thanks to number 4, Android.
She is on a 15-0 run here.
Yes. So just an example, as we all know, just what can happen during a jammer penalty when the other team's jammer is strong. They got a power jam like this. So we're right now at a difference of only 6 points. Add 5 points to that score. We're at 224, 225 Missy Riot now released from the box. And I
Box
can't remember
is
if she,
empty.
I can't remember if she's on her initial pass here or if she was on scoring pass.
I
But
think she had completed her initial
right,
pass.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter because there's Android, who has just put another 5 points on the board, bringing them up to 229, 225, and we've had a lead change now with about 10 and a half minutes left. Now, it's only a 4-point lead change, so
We'll see what happens
did
with
at least affect the outcome of the game a little bit, thanks to number 4, Android, who was jamming and got a 19, I think there's a 19-point jam in there.
So there will be no points awarded to Granite State, so 25 points, just like that.
Yes. Number 421, Impaler Swift. We haven't seen her jam now in a minute. She is wearing the jammer star for Mass Attack. And I don't see a jammer being fielded. Well, okay, maybe they're sending Taz out. She's got the star in her
Yeah, I
helmet.
see that.
We've got a timeout in progress now. Team timeout being called here by Granite State. Gretchen's just kind of walking around, enjoying the fun.
Yep.
She gets to rest her voice for a few games here. This team timeout coming to an end just after number 4 Android does what she needs to do to cause a lead change there by 4 points in that last jam. Has number 100 now jamming for Granite State, and number 421 Impaler Swift wearing the star for Mass Attack.
So with only 10-12, I've talked a little bit about this, this Mass Attack strategy, playing the long game. I can't imagine with 10 minutes you continue to do that.
That's a lot. That's something that you could pull off at maybe the last maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes.
With a very slim 4-point lead.
And Granite State now sending Taz out. Now, as she saw, she was kind of a sleeper yesterday. She didn't really get involved in the first portion of the game, but when she came out in the second portion, she had an impact on that game. But look at that. Mass Attack's 4-wall holds Taz back, and she's about 30 feet now behind Impaler Swift, who's in the engagement zone, ready to put some points on. I think her best bet's to hit it and quit it. There it is.
Yeah. Taz may still have got in there for a point.
She got 2. Oh, look at that. 1 point there scored by Impaler Swift.
And we're going to have an official review called by Granite State. So at the beginning of that jam, there was a nice one-on-one with Killbot going up against Taz, and that was about 2.5 seconds of time bought that really made a difference for the Mass Attack jammer. It didn't have the extra bodies in the way.
So we've got our official review in progress now. Our referees are going to discuss the review at hand. Make sure you catch the WFTDA playoffs through August and September. The international WFTDA playoffs bring the top teams ranked 4 through 28 in the WFTDA together for 2 fiercely competitive tournaments. The top 4 teams get a bye directly to championships. All playoffs feature 10 competitors, and the top 4 teams from each tournament advance to the 2018 International WFTDA Championships. And this year, that's in New Orleans, Louisiana, from November 9th to November 11th. For With almost 15 years of pushing the sport's athleticism and competition to new heights, the international WFTDA playoffs and championships bring together the most talented, highly trained skaters and teams from WFTDA member leagues. Whether on the track, cheering in the stands, or watching on WFTDA.tv, all members of the community participate in the most anticipated matchups of the year at the WFTDA tournaments. Our official review now is coming to an end.
All done with the review. Let's see if we can get an update on what's going on.
I see 4 from each team and 2 jammers, so it must have been in reference to some points.
Our alt ref is hoofing it.
Carnage Patch Kid, number 80, and number 20, Critical Hit. Critical Hit's jamming for Granite State. Carnage for a Mass Attack. Mass Attack with a mere 3-point lead so far. And two whistles go. Carnage Patch Kid, your lead jammer for Mass Attack. Critical Hit's out of the pack too. She's on her initial pass. Carnage about 40 feet ahead. She's in the engagement zone. And once again, her best bet here is to hit it and quit it, because Critical Hit is now officially in the pack.
Wasn't a lot of time for her to try to get in there to hit it, so she may go for the extra 4.
4 points, and for some reason, Carnage is not calling off. She's just allowing Critical Hit to score on those blockers. And Carnage is back in the pack. She's relying heavily on her team's defense. Unfortunately, they didn't stop Critical Hit. Critical Hit, it's
a back block. When she came into the front stretch, she came in with a lot of steam and took somebody down in front of her.
She was banking most likely on being able to run that jam out like we've been talking about, while her team's defense holds back Critical Hit, but it backfired on her because now Carnage is in the box for that back block, and Critical Hit is on a power jam with 5 points, and there's our lead change once again. I think running that jam out like we've been talking about, just a very, very risky thing. In this instance, it could have cost them the victory in this game.
I think you're right. There were easily 2 or 3 points on the table for her at the time when she made contact on that initial pass. I won't say she got greedy or the team got greedy, but I would have called it at that. I think that's just the safe bet.
Yes, because running that pack long. Oh, and
now she's lost her star.
Now her jammer star there is laying on turn 4, so
hopefully she sees it when she comes back around again.
That up. There she goes. So we saw an effective use of running that jam out earlier in this game, where it did benefit the team.
That's right.
But that you've absolutely have to have your defense on their best watch there if you're going to do that, to hold back that jammer. Now I believe in that previous jam, and on her first scoring pass, she put 4 up. And she had time to call that jam off, and I think that would have been the best bet for her.
The only thing I think that I could see that might have been difficult for her to call that off when she was in the pack is she was in such a tight position, there wasn't a lot of room to move her arms around.
Yeah. 245, 238. That 240, 245. So Granite State reestablishing their lead, 245, 240. Taz Lamian Devil is wearing the star now for Granite State.
I think if you're Mass Attack, you feel lucky that you're only down 5 after that.
Down 5, and they could still easily pull that back up. So we're counting down here. We're in our final couple moments. We're at 7 minutes left to this game. It's not final by any means. That's many jams, and a lot can still happen. Got a temporary timeout here while our referees or our volunteers repair the track there on the jammer line.
I do like that we have such a high-scoring game, and it's so close. You don't see that very often.
That seems to be the theme of this weekend, because we had that game yesterday where it was up and up. Every couple jams, it was 1 point higher here, then another point here, and that game ended with just a 1-point victory.
The high score, definitely a result of running long jams.
Yes.
And we've allowed that score to get higher as a result. Now we've had a point correction. Mass Attack is now 236 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they must have been given points in error because there aren't too many situations where a team can lose points. But they were at 240, so they just lost 4 points there. And the only situation where you can take points away is if they're awarded an error.
After this game, we'll see an exhibition game between Casco Bay Roller Derby and a whole bunch of all-stars. I think that should be fun.
After that game is our junior game.
Yeah.
Which is always fun to watch. And after that is our can we call that a championship game, at least for the day? That is a state college area roller derby taking on Lehigh. Both teams practically neighbors in Pennsylvania. They're not near, but they're not far from each other. They have played each other in the past.
Yeah, the winner of today's game will go on to play in the consolation bracket for what would effectively be third place. And then I can't wait I haven't seen junior roller derby in quite some time. So this is going to be exciting.
We've got one league now near me in the Harrisburg area. There are talks of more coming up in the area, and there's one now in Maryland, in Hagerstown, Maryland. There's a couple dotted here and there throughout Pennsylvania. There's one in the Clearfield area. It's beginning to take off. We've been talking about it now for a couple years. It's just taken some people to finally do it. Seems like Michigan seems to have the upper hand here for us for junior derby leagues. Our next jam about to start, Tasmanian Devil and number 419, Killbot. Killbot is stuck in the back of the pack of very strong blocking by Granite State, holding back Killbot. Killbot's taken out of bounds on the straightaway by number 36 from Granite State, Fearless. Now Tasmanian Devil is lead jammer for this jam, and I believe this is her scoring pass. Initial pass completed by Killbot, but 5 points thrown up by Tasmanian Devil.
Taz will play it safe, play it consistent.
Now, she was one who probably could get away with playing a long jam there. With as strong as her defense was right off that jam line, when they were just absolutely nailing Killbot, holding her back, she could have played that, but still, for as close as the score is, it's good to build up a bit of a buffer. Number 4, Android, and number 19, Missy Riot going at it. We've got some skaters flying all over the place. It looks like not even close to me. Got nailed there right ahead of the pivot line. Lead jammer going to Android, number 4, for mass attack. She's knocked out of bounds there at the apex and has to re-enter thanks to a drawback by number 8 there, Murphy, who also knocks her out of bounds on the straightaway. Now, Android is still on a scoring pass. She manages to almost get past number 8 there, Murphy, but she goes down, has to get back up and recover from that. Now, Granite State holding together another strong defensive wall. Mass attack. Their pivot coming up to try to break up that defensive wall for Android. All the while, Missy Riot coming out with 5 points. Mass attack finally putting 4 points on the board. as Android takes on the pack. And in addition to all the jamming that we saw yesterday by Naughty Van Close, she's on her game today for her defensive blocking. She was in those last couple of walls where she was really just pummeling Android.
Granite State giving Mass Attack a taste of their own medicine.
There was a cut track committed by Android. She was knocked out of bounds there on the jammer line. She had a toe stop, actually went out of the track, and it was still touching the floor. She came in bounds, and she got that cut track. Our referees called it 1-0 in that jam, but Granite State is on a power start, and for all but a full 30 seconds, that Android is still going to be in the box in this next jam. She got that penalty just as that jam was ending, or just before it ended.
So it's Granite State who played the long game that time around.
Got some more track repairs going on here. As soon as that's taken care of, we'll get our next jam underway. Taking the power start, number 20, critical hit from Granite State. Our next jam being brought to us by our VIP scoreboard sponsor, All Kind chocolate bars and caramels. Their flagship store right here in Portland, Maine. Their products are batch tempered, hand poured, hand wrapped. They medicate, elevate, hand motivate, and they are safe, easy, and discreet. Rolling whistle says we're going to start our next jam here in just a couple seconds. A full jammer line start by all of our blockers, while critical hit number 20 is on a power start.
I think Mass Attack is down one blocker.
272, 246 now, and certainly this power jam is not going to help Mass Attack at all. Critical hit up to the front of the pack. Just two blockers holding her from getting lead jammer at this point. And those two blockers are giving it their all, but critical hit gets past both of them, and lead jammer is now established. Critical hit getting tripped up a little bit on her skates, gets back up, while Android is still finishing up her cutting the track penalty from the previous jam.
And another penalty assessed on
forearm penalty. So, just as you saw, Android now back on her way to the box for another penalty, a forearm penalty, and another 5 points here being scored by critical hit. We're about 3 minutes to the end of the official period clock, and these power jams, that they could be a game changer. 5 more points here by critical hit, and she is still unopposed on this power jam. Android is standing. She's released from the box, and she's back in. But 5 more points put on the board thanks to critical hit. Android out of the pack now, completing her initial pass. About 30 seconds left to this jam. Some last minute blocking there by number 419, Killbot, who takes critical hit out of bounds on the apex. Critical hit re-enters at the back. It calls that jam off. When our final 2 minutes here of our game, 292 to 250 in favor of Granite State.
So even though, we think back to that one lapse in calling it off,
yes,
I think Granite State has still proven in the last 8 or 9 minutes that they worked hard and deserve to be where they are at. It wasn't one single.
Now there were a couple
single event,
a couple jammer penalties there for Mass Attack that really helped them along. Taz once again, Taz Slamian double jamming for Granite State here in what could be the final jam of the game.
Could be if they want to let it go. And
there it is, 4 points scored by Taz. I don't believe that Impaler Swift has yet completed her initial pass. She's in the pack now. 3 of the 4 blockers bracing strong to hold her back, and they're still just pummeling her. Number 8, Murphy, takes Impaler Swift out of bounds there on turn 3 and draws her back. That's going to be a lap point now to Taslamian Devil. I heard an out of play there. So there will be an out of play blocking penalty being given to a mass attack skater. One less skater now that Taslamian Devil has to contend with as she's on another scoring pass. I think she's just going to run this jam out to the end. There it is, another 5 points, breaking the 300-point mark. 4 points now being scored by number 421, Impaler Swift. Our period clock reaches 0. Taslamian Devil calls that jam off. Our unofficial score, Granite State 319, Mass Attack 254. Give us just a moment to finalize that score with our JAMA referees and our scorekeepers.
Yeah, we are picking up an official review.
Okay, yes we are.
I wonder if they're trying to get, I think that, well, the clock had run out before they called that official review, so I don't think they were going to get an extra jam out of it.
No, I think the jam ended while they were all still skating, so I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off. We are still in the midst of our official review called just as this game is ending. I think I see our officials breaking up. And that official review is over. Now, we still don't have an official score yet declared. But there's the official end of the game.
All right. Well, we'll be back here in just a few minutes with our next game, which is going to be an exhibition game between Casco Bay Roller Derby from the MRDA. We do have our final now, 319, Granite State Mass Attack 254. Really a fun game to watch. Fantastic work by both teams. We'll see you back here probably in 15 or 20 minutes.